right, the moment we've all been waiting for. Vinyl Happy Hour. This is season 5, episode 14 of Vinyl Happy Hour with Skylar Davis. I am the owner of Culture Shock Clothing and Records here in Rockford, Illinois, and also of cultureshockshop.com, where you can find some of the records we are talking about tonight. Little SoCo and Pepsi. I'm going to jump right into it because there was some pretty amazing reissues and a super duper special box set of one of my favorite albums. You can probably see over here already that I'm going to talk about for the finale. But every week we like to bring to you a few of the limited indie store exclusives, other new releases, special packaging, and reissues that we think you should know about. So our top 5 for this week are going to start out right on top with Angel Olsen, the beautiful voice of Angel Olsen on Big Time, her brand new album. This is an indie store exclusive double LP on pink vinyl. Also comes with this gorgeous booklet and a lot of nice extra photos. It's a very kind of like a very pulpy, like wood, like non-glossy booklet. But there's a lot of photos and things like that go along with the album. Of course, you've got all your lyrics on the inside instead of being printed on an inner sleeve. But more than just the lyrics and songs, there's a lot of great photos. This is translucent pink vinyl. Wait, opaque, yeah. I know the difference between opaque and translucent. Stop it. But this is the indie store exclusive version of it, and I like that it kind of matches with the lettering on the album. I love it whenever it's tied together with either the title or the art or something on the album. There's a nice gatefold of her on the nice hills. If you haven't listened to Angel Olsen yet, she really fits into a lot of things that I personally have been listening to a lot, like Snail Mail, Sharon Van Etten for sure. Definitely got this cool kind of folky alternative country vibe. But it's also very dreamy. I mean, she's got a great voice, a lot of great guitar playing and stuff too. This even will throw me back to like Dolly Parton and like Mazzy Star, even the dreamier parts of it. Some good classic stuff too, just great songwriting, great voice. So that is the wonderful Angel Olsen new album, Big Time. We have the link down here if you go to the link where it says pick up these records in our staff picks. Even if you're picking them up in store, you know, for our locals, you might want to purchase ahead of time just to make sure we have some, because a lot of these are limited edition, or even if they're not, honestly, a lot of things are selling out right now. That's why we've been really kind of talking about the website. And of course, shipping anywhere in the 48 states. If you pick that up, we will get it packaged up and shipped out to you. These first 2 albums I'm talking about, Angel Olsen and 12 Foot Ninja, are brand new releases. This is Vengeance from 12 Foot Ninja. This, I mean, I go all over. I go from folk stuff to metal and things like that. This is definitely going to be in the metal genre, but in the metal genre of weirdness. They got this polyline inner sleeve in here. There's no special vinyl or color versions as far as I know, but this is an Australian band, and their previous albums are extremely hard to come by and very expensive. I think this must be their own label. I actually don't know much about the band in real life. I just know their music and how epic, crazy, awesome it is. Volcanic Records. It looks like it's only release number 6 on this label, so it's probably their own label or an Australian label. The band might be self-released, but they are available to us at Culture Shock and cultureshockshop.com. They are all over the place, though. They're a metal band, but they're like proggy metal, interesting metal, new metal, bounce metal, whatever you want to say, and it's hardcore too. There's some good breakdowns, but they really zane it up. There's some weird parts that get very weird if you're a fan of Mike Patton or Mr. Bungle and Faith No More, some bands he's been in. They will mix in like a random little part of like some Latin cha-cha music or something really bizarre, or and then they'll just bring in a heavy breakdown. So for me, you know, I find myself liking between, like, let's say between the Buried in Me and Frank Zappa or something when I hear this music. They're an Australian band, and they definitely kind of have their own sound, their own groove going on. So there's some good groove metal, just some good, I mean, we're calling a lot of this stuff, like with those really chuggy, heavy, low guitars too, gent metal. Of course, hardcore, metalcore, new metal, stuff like that. They're all over the place. Definitely worth checking out, but get onto it soon if you want, because I doubt there's a lot of pressing since it's not a major label. I was just stoked that we were able to grab a few copies of their new album, which actually started streaming. It did come out last year, but with all the vinyl delays and whatnot going on, they're just finally getting released on vinyl this week. Okay, let's talk about some really cool reissues and some really elaborate, interesting packaging. This one is clutch. Oh yeah, we got all kinds of inserts too. This is the Robot Hive Exodus. Oh, there's so much going on with this. This is going to take a minute just to kind of show off and talk about. First of all, just look at this gorgeous jacket with all this foil print and glossy print. Oh my God, it's like embossed even down here. It's like a seal of embossed down there. Gatefold, double LP. Oh, there's the bonus 7-inch in here too. So the 7-inch is on like some sticky, gooey tack on the inside. It will come off of there. Should have probably taken it off to show off the whole gatefold, but I kind of like it there. I kind of like it keeping in place for me and not losing it inside the jacket or with my record collection. So this Clutch Robot Hive Exodus, let's pull out a record first and then I'll tell you. This is the second LP. One is like gold, one is silver, so that kind of goes with the gold and silver foil print. It has an autographed art print. So the autographed art print by the band in marker is also foil stamped numbered. I didn't know it was going to be, I forgot it was going to be numbered. This is number 2505 out of 7500. So these guys must have signed 7500 of these. So honestly, it's cool little initials and autograph, and it's a cool little art print, 10 by 10 probably, yeah. So that could go in a nice little frame. So this Clutch Robot Hive and Exodus, which originally came out in 05, has been kind of hard to get. Bonus 7-inch with 2 additional tracks. It's remastered audio, sounds great. I was looking at it, a lot of times people are questionable about colored vinyl or picture disc sometimes, but they sound great. Artist, autograph, numbered insert. This band, if you don't know them, they're like stoner, blues rock, metal, kind of alternative weird. They're from Maryland, but they sound southern for some reason. Just a very interesting band. Clutch is definitely someone you need to check out if you haven't. This is just a wild album. They actually do a couple of blues covers, even though they're kind of doing like this gruff southern metal with like kind of like a cool bounce to it also. It's bluesy, it's stoner rocky. They do a Mississippi Fred McDowell cover. Ooh, who else do they cover? Oh yeah, Howlin' Wolf. Yeah, there's a Howlin' Wolf cover on here too. Gravel Road, I think, right? Yeah, so very cool to hear a band like this, you know, doing some blues covers. They're a very interesting band, but what's super cool is being able to show off the packaging, the elaborate autographed insert, printed inner sleeves, just such great packaging. Obviously, it's priced a little more than your average record, but I think well worth it considering it comes with a 7-inch double LP. These are limited and numbered, so you never know how soon they're going to sell out. But really cool to see. I love that band. Clutch is definitely another one of my many favorite bands. Let's talk about my favorite album. It was interesting actually. So we usually do our vinyl happy hour on Thursdays. This is coming out on Friday because a couple of things. Memorial Day happened this weekend, so a lot of shipping was running a little late. Warehouse was backed up. The following parts of Record Store Day are coming out here in June, so I think a lot of warehouses are backed up with that. And I also went to see, there was like a one-time showing of Jazz Fest, a documentary about the New Orleans Jazz Fest. And that was really cool. It's like a New Orleans story. Very cool to see the history, the over 50 years history of that Jazz Fest that's been going on, and how jazz really got its roots and got its start. You know, we're talking about blues, jazz, rock and roll in New Orleans. I'm actually sipping a little Southern Comfort. I usually like to pair a drink with a vinyl happy hour that goes with it. This is like a Louisiana, you know, kind of Southern Comfort, kind of like a Southern drink, Southern spirit. Makes sense. Even though this album is actually a West Coast album, it's just cool to see how many the jazz bands, the Zydeco, the Bayou music, the blues, the jazz, the rock and roll, the soul, the funk, everything has come out of there. So I did go and see that, and it was hard. Plus some stuff came in late. So we're running a day late on the vinyl happy hour, but there's a lot of good excuses there. This is an interesting release, the Gerald Wilson Orchestra. This is a Blue Note Tone Poet series, and this isn't an incredibly rare record or anything, but it is kind of tough to find. This is a Blue Note Tone Poet series, completely analog mastered, nice thick jacket, completely nice thick analog vinyl. But this is actually a Pacific Jazz release, which was a West Coast jazz label, and Blue Note usually did more like East Coast, New Jersey, New York groups, and this is a really cool album if you want to get into more of the big band and older jazz, not the kind of hard bop and stuff like that. Gerald Wilson was an orchestra and band leader actually who worked with like Dizzy Gillespie and Count Basie also. So this has a lot of instruments on it and a lot of artists on it. So this isn't like that small, tight, hard bop jazz or anything like that, or any of the free jazz. This is way older sounding, coming from his background, which he's actually more of a Midwest guy, but ended up on this West Coast label. And there's several trombonists, several trumpets, several saxophones, and then you've got Mel Lewis on drums. So there's a larger band playing on this, but just a great sounding piece. And if you're more into that type of jazz or earlier jazz or want to step into that, this is a great way to go. These are great sounding recordings from the Blue Note Tone Poet series, and they're really nice art. Usually the Blue Note stuff has a gatefold jacket with extra photos. This label, when they were making their records, didn't have those extra photos available, but they did put a really nice insert with a nice story, kind of a little bit more background on Gerald Wilson and some of the bands and stuff that he was playing with and conducting. Definitely a cool piece to check out, especially if you want to go back to more of the roots of jazz and stuff like that. Just wanted to show that off, the Tone Poet series. And whew, I'm not going to get super deep into this Nirvana Nevermind box set, but I've been spending a little bit of time with it. I'm really happy this finally got released. There's some stuff I hadn't listened to, especially some of the live stuff on this. So I'm just going to give you a little brief review of it, a little breakdown of what comes in the package and things like that. I am a huge Nirvana fan. Nevermind is one of my favorite albums. I mean, God, In Utero and everything else too that they did is awesome. I think this came out in '91, so I would have only been like 10 years old. I didn't get into this album until after Kurt Cobain had died, actually. Around '94 is when I got into Nirvana, when MTV Unplugged came out, which is probably when a lot of people got into Nirvana. And I was into that, and then I figured out Nevermind stuff, and I actually didn't even know that Kurt Cobain was dead until almost nearly a year after I was listening to Nirvana. Like, it was a different time then in the mid and early 90s. You know, I think I read a Hit Parader magazine or something at Walgreens. I was also in a very strict Christian school. Listening to secular music was hard to do. But Nevermind is just one of those perfect albums. Every song on it is amazing. Let's just talk about Nevermind first before I show off some of these live ones. So this box set, nice, super thick box set too. It is like stout. The Nevermind release itself is inside, and it is on a gatefold instead of the regular LP jacket. And they did like this soft touch. This is a remastered anniversary edition with a really boosted sound and everything like that. In the 90s, a lot of things were, you know, really geared towards CDs and cassettes. This was what was on the original inner sleeve of the original Nevermind. It does come in poly-lined inner sleeves. All of these have that nice little kind of poly-lined inner sleeve to keep it nice and smooth, surface scuff-free. And there is a bonus 7-inch that comes with the Nevermind itself, which does feature Endless Nameless. On the B-side, you've got Even in His Youth and Aneurysm. These were all mixed by Andy Wallace, it looks like, and produced by Butch Vig. That's why Nevermind just sounds so great. He was just, I mean, such great engineers and producers working on this album. It is a pop album, but it is a punk, hard, heavy album. What's really interesting about this, though, is the live stuff that comes with it. And that's what I was really kind of digging into with this box set. All of the jackets are like this soft touch, so they're kind of like rubbery, leathery feeling, really thick though. It's all like chipboard or whatever you want to call it. You can see here, it's like this thicker cardboard, and there's a lot of pictures and photos. So what we're getting is the Nevermind 30th anniversary remastered LP, the 7-inch with those songs on it. The book is the other big thing on here. That's Nevermind 30th anniversary with tons of just, oh yeah, the first thing that's very interesting is this 4x6 photo in the inside of it, but there is like all sorts of photos of the band throughout their Nevermind history, throughout this album release cycle, and most of it is from that era and some of the tours they were on. Just some photos I've never seen, and some in just really sharp, crystal clear photography that I hadn't seen done before. Some is from live shows. So we got the Nevermind, the 7-inch, the book, and then you have 4 live shows. Starting with November 25th, 1991 in Amsterdam, Netherlands, a double LP. This is all from the Nevermind tour. So on these shows, they're going to be all from 91 and 92. Tokyo, Amsterdam, California, and Australia. So you're going to hear mostly the Nevermind set, and you're also going to hear stuff from Bleach and stuff from their first album. But it's just done so differently to hear how polished the album was and then to hear how they play it live. I'm sure some of these have leaked out there, bootlegs or CDs of it, but honestly a lot of it I hadn't heard. And to be honest with you, the only ones I've really had time to dig into much are going to be the earliest one, which was the Amsterdam one, and then the last one, which was 92, live in Tokyo. And to hear the difference on how the set list changes and evolves, I mean, you can probably put together a timeline like this is being played just shortly after the album released. And Smells Like Teen Spirit was like that big hit, and this just gets thrown in the middle of the set, whereas in Tokyo they do like a pretend goodnight, like they're done, and they end up sneaking in a couple more songs, Polly, Terrestrial Pissings, and then they close with Smells Like Teen Spirit. And this came out, probably closer to, a little bit later, quite a few months or nearly a year after the album was released. So to see how they changed their set probably and how that song really took over is really interesting. And just to hear how they played differently at every set. Obviously, Kurt Cobain was a very interesting individual with his look and the way he played, and he really helped run that band, and they had to kind of play to him. But Dave Grohl and Kurt Stoll on bass were always just keeping that groove together, because hearing these live songs, it just really brings a smile to my face and just really made me giddy to hear different versions of the songs from Nevermind, mostly because obviously that album, you can only hear it once and only play the same thing over and over so many times, which I can still do and still enjoy. But hearing them play it differently and change it up, and like especially Kurt Cobain just screaming sometimes and going kind of off course and soloing and ripping on his guitar, but the drums and bass keep it together and keep that groove together. Some of it's messy and sloppy and amazing sounding though. Nonetheless, it's still artistic, still has punch, still has life. A couple things can remind me of like the Replacements, even in the early Replacements and stuff like that, where it got kind of punk and noisy. I mean, you hear a lot of influences from other bands, of course. Nirvana was very open about, obviously loving Bowie and, even Replacements and other bands like that, and Sonic Youth and stuff like that. And to see like, even like this one where Novoselic wearing the Beat Happening shirt and stuff like that, seeing them represent other, especially Seattle area bands, is really cool to see the clothing they were wearing. This one though, God, I was listening to this one, and like Come As You Are is just done so off the wall, just so wild on this first show that they played. Actually this one, the Amsterdam one, and then they do it a lot smoother on some other ones, but the set lists are always different and changing. So there's four different live albums, most are double LPs. This one here is a single LP from California, from December of '91, and then you also have live in Melbourne, Australia, in February 1st of '92. But just the attention to detail, the nice thick packaging. There's no extra inserts or anything like that, but all that pictures and things will be in the book. Super cool box set. I mean, it's eight LPs and a 7-inch. But yeah, it was just really fun to kind of explore and get into this. As you can see, you got your thick box and then double thickness on top and bottom. Very nice. I don't know how it says. It doesn't say how many were made or anything like that, but for a 30th anniversary, since it's an anniversary edition, I doubt it'll stay in print long, or I won't make many. But that was fun just to explore that and do that. Obviously, if you enjoy what I'm doing here with the Vinyl Happy Hour, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And every week we'll bring a new one. Plus, you should be following us on our social media, so find us on our Instagram and Facebook especially, where we post some other great updates. And, of course, if you want to order from us, we will make sure that we carefully pack and ship, especially these box sets. Very nice. Actually, like this box set from Nirvana, it has this like Tetris-y foam insert and everything like that to pack and ship and keep all four corners super safe in transit. As with everything we ship, even our regular single LPs, we use oversized boxes so you don't get corner dings, and nice and double packed so there's no heat and warping. So we love to take care of records and preserve them and make them last. Plus, there's tons of other new releases that come out every week. We just take a few minutes to show you a few. Until next week, guys. Cheers.